welcome to the archives. I'm Agent Ghost, and I just seemed to be in some pain earlier from suffering from a huge explosion. Like this.
Agent vital signs, 0.
I just don't know. If only I had a strong tank build that used the Heartbreaker gear set, was very survivable, had sustainability and damage. Let's just think about that for a second.
Detected.
If only, am I right? Well, let's just move on to this build's breakdown. I really wish that was a thing. Anyway, without further ado, starting things off, I'm using the Technician specialization for access to the Artificer Hive to help restore our shield, as well as the mod, the linked laser pointer, which are both essential in this build. We'll go over both of those throughout this build. Now, that's why I'm using the technician specialization. You can use whatever specialization you want, which goes to what I like to say for all my build videos is please make any changes you see fit or want and just use it as a base template, whether that's the specialization, weapons, gear, or skills. Please experiment and have fun like I do. That's one of the biggest joys I have in this game. Now, moving on to the weapons, I am using the Lefty high-end shotgun. You can farm for this at in Countdown. Just set things to shotguns or name caches and things like that. If you don't have it, you can use, I don't know if I have one on here, but the non-named variant is the AC-12 shotgun, and I will leave in the link down in the description below, if you're missing some things, a budget version that doesn't use any named or exotic pieces in this that I made in the past. So if you want to check that out, please go ahead. Now, I'm using this mainly because it's a fully automatic shotgun and it helps build our stack for the Heartbreaker gear set, which we'll go over in just a sec. You can pause and take a look at the core attributes, but I have damage targets out of cover and the regular attribute, which is the highest multiplicative damage in the game, as well as I enjoy this talent. I've been just enjoying the Lefty more than the rock and roll, which is another named variant. Just because of that talent just seems more useful, or I'm just enjoying it more and more as I'm using it. So you can pause and take a look at Perfect Sledgehammer. It's not a huge, it's not super important for the build really, but it's just that much more mid-maxing. So there you go. Now moving on to the next weapon, I'm using the Kingbreaker assault rifle. Very important in this build. It's where we're going to be able to hit our high numbers and do all the damage as high as possible. Oh, before I forget, for the Lefty shotgun, sorry, just going back, there are the mods that I'm using. If you want to pause, you can copy and paste and put them in your mods. But yeah, for the Kingbreaker, once again, I have damage to targets out of cover in the regular attribute, and I'm using it because the Kingbreaker comes with the talent Perfect Flatline, which amplifies weapon damage by 20% to pulsed enemies. After 3 kills, apply pulse to the next enemy you hit, which is nice, but we don't even have to worry about that because once again, if we go under mods and the linked laser pointer mod that again we get from the technician specialization, what it does is technician laser pointer that pulses targets at which it is aimed. The underbarrel, yeah. So what that looks like, I have that on both my Lefty shotgun and this, but when you can see that outline that's red right there when I point my weapon, when that happens, that means they're pulsed, and right there, boom, we get a flat 20% increased damage to the enemies, which is just crazy on top of all the other damage we're getting throughout this build. Once again, there are the mods if you want to pause, copy, and paste. Now for the pistol, I'm using the TDI card custom. I believe you can only get this from conflict, name caches, control caches. It is a named pistol, but you can really use whatever you want. Again, I'm using this more for mid-maxing for the extra skill tier that it provides, which skill tiers help increase our skills stats dramatically, each skill tier. So, but keep in mind, and I also have finisher rolled into mine, you can use whatever talent you want with your TDI card custom. Again, I'm using that for the extra damage. There are the mods. But one quick tip I want to say is for that extra skill tier your pistol provides, it's only when you're holding it out. So I pull it out for my shield when, you can see when I put it away, I have 12 charges on our Artificer Hive. So when I want to do some burst healing with my shield, because we'll go into detail in that a little bit later, but the Artificer Hive essentially quickly helps regenerate or give portions of health back to my shield. Now moving on to the gear pieces, I'm using the Catharsis exotic mask. I'm using this for the sustainability. It's one of my favorite exotic masks in the game. There's the core attribute and regular attributes. If you want to pause, you can do so to take a look at them. I have a crit plus 6% crit chance in the mod slot, but I'm using it for the talent Vicious Cycle, which taking damage builds stacks to a cap of 30. Each stack grants 1% weapon damage. Taking damage at max stacks triggers a purge, removing all stacks and status effects, and then dropping a healing cloud, which restores 5% of max armor for 10 seconds to all allies in the cloud, which really helps out with again, the survivability and sustainability with this build. I also want to point out, if you have enough crit hit chance, you want to aim for about 50%, but a general rule of thumb with any Catharsis mask is if you throw in a maxed out incoming repairs, for example, then it will affect the healing cloud it produces and make it that much stronger. So if you're still having trouble with surviving, you can always do that if you want. Now moving on to the Heartbreaker gear set, the whole enchilada of this entire build. We're going to go over the gear set bonuses for having each piece. So when you have 2 pieces of the Heartbreaker gear set equipped, it gives you plus 15% assault rifle damage. Very important since we're using the Kingbreaker, and plus 15% LMG damage. Not important because we're not using LMGs. With 3 pieces of the gear set, we get plus 15% weapon handling, which just helps out our overall stats. You can go under weapon handling and it can affect like accuracy and stability and reload time and all that. So not everything, but a lot of the stats there, which just makes quality of life that much nicer. Now, for the 4 pieces for the gear set, it gives you access to the talent Heartstopper, which is the most important part of this build, which headshots apply pulse for 5 seconds, which again, since we're using the link laser pointer, doesn't matter. Weapon hits on pulsed enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulsed enemies, up to a max of 50 stacks. 2 stacks are lost each second. So we can get a plus 50% bonus armor and plus 50% weapon damage when we get achieve max stacks. In the core attribute, I have 170,000 armor. In the regular attribute, I have 4.9% crit hit chance and a plus 12% crit hit damage mod, as well as having access and putting on the Heartbreaker chest piece gives us the talent max BPM, which increases max stacks for Heartstopper from 50 to 100. So now we have 100% plus 100% bonus armor and plus 100% weapon damage just from equipping the chest piece, which is insane. And what that might look like is here. Let me really quick just get up to a named enemy, switch to my shotgun, and you can see that heart down there with the hole in it. That's the Heartbreaker stacks, and as I'm shooting with this, I'm building more and more stacks. Oh, hang on, it's not pulsed. There we go. Now I'm gaining there. I'm already at max stacks. That's how quickly it takes, which is just insane. Now moving on to the backpack, we already went over that. I have 170,000 armor rolled in the core attribute. In the regular attribute, 10.4% crit hit damage and 12% crit hit damage mod. And then what the backpack's talent gives us access to is Hold, which increases total bonus armor gain per stack from Heartstopper from 1% to 2%. So we just doubled our armor again. With the chest piece, we get 100% damage and 100% bonus armor. Well, now this 1% per stack is now 2%, so it's 200% bonus armor per stack, which is just insane. So that much more tankiness. Now for the hands, I have 170,000 armor rolled in the core attribute and 5.9% crit chance in the regular attribute. For the knee guards, I have 170,000 armor rolled in the core attribute and 11.1% crit hit damage in the regular attribute. Now for the final piece of gear that we're using is I'm using the Seska holster. Seska pieces are some of the best in the game if you're lacking crit hit chance, so that's why I'm using it. In the Brandset bonus for equipping one Seska piece, we get plus 10% crit hit chance, which hits us around that 50% that I want. In the core attribute, I have 14.8% weapon damage. In the regular attribute, I have 4.6% crit hit chance, and then I re-rolled 12% crit hit damage. Now, if you get a perfect roll, you can change that core attribute for armor to have even more armor, but honestly, I found having one red core for weapon damage just helped with our damage all that much more. And as you can see in the gameplay, we have tons of survivability and armor already. But if you want to, by all means, go ahead. Now, for our skills, I am using the Crusader Ballistic Shield. This allows us to have access to use shotguns and assault rifles while having the shield out. And I'm up to tier 6 because of the armor cores I have. There are the stats if you want to pause and take a look at them, you can, as well as the mods. You can pause, copy, and paste there. Those are the mods I'm using. Now, once again, I'm using the Artificer Hive from having access from the Technician specialization. Essentially, to keep things brief, if my shield were to take damage, like if I pop it out, you see that purple glow, and you can see the Artificer Hive all the way to the left, in front of the other two symbols right there. It's counting down. When that goes down from that cooldown, boom, it procs again, and that each time that happens, it will start regenerating a portion of my shield's health to just make our shield that much more tanky, just to be as strong of a tank as possible. These are my skills. Now we're going to go over the final stats, and then we'll show the final gameplay footage. So I have 304,000. Oh, let's actually look at the Kingbreaker. Okay, so for the Kingbreaker, I have 117,412 weapon damage, 51.4% crit hit chance. So again, you want to aim for 50% if you are not close to it. Like if you're in 48% or 49, that's absolutely fine. But if you're missing, like you're at 44% or something like that, just get rid of one of the crit hit damage mods you saw and replace it with crit hit chance. So 51.4% crit hit chance, 102.5% crit hit damage, 75% headshot damage, damage targets out of cover. We have rolled on our weapons, as well as 21% health damage. Moving on to offensive, I have 54.8% all weapon damage bonus, 45% assault rifle damage bonus, 15% light machine gun damage bonus, 15% shotgun damage bonus, and 15% pistol damage bonus. We've already gone over the gear talents and brand set bonuses, so just moving on to defense, and then we can move on to the final gameplay footage. So I have 1,661,000 armor. It rounds up to 1.7 million there, but that's the exact number. Again, you can re-roll that Seska chest piece if you find a perfect roll with crit hit chance and crit hit damage to have even more armor. Up to you. 4,925 armor regen because of Catharsis. That's not part of the sustainability against the cloud from the cycle talent that it provides. And that's pretty much it for the stats. So thank you so much everyone for watching, and I also wanted to give a shout out to everyone that commented in my last one-shot build video. Gave a lot of good constructive criticism and things for when I do my next one-shot build video, and I'll make sure to give shout outs to everyone that made those comments and adjustments that I made for the next one whenever that comes out. Thank you so much. Take care everyone. Be safe. Have a wonderful rest of your day/night. Bye.